For about 100 years now, Hollywood has had this secret weapon. It's a little piece of paper, a few lines in a contract that has the power to build empires and, well, to completely shatter a career in a single sentence. It's called the Morals Clause. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it works.
So picture this. It's 2011. A massive, devastating tsunami has just hit Japan. And just hours later, comedian Gilbert Gottfried starts tweeting jokes like this one. Almost immediately, Aflac, the insurance company, the one with the duck he famously voiced, fired him. Just like that.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? How can a few words, a handful of tweets, give a massive corporation the legal power to just end your career? The answer is hiding in plain sight. In two little words, buried deep inside pretty much every entertainment contract out there.
The Morals Clause. This is it. This is the legal tripwire that connects a star's private life to their professional paycheck. It basically says, hey, if you do something that makes you look bad, and by extension makes us look bad, we can cut you loose. It is the ultimate corporate escape hatch. But to really get how this clause became the force of nature it is today, we have to go back, way back, to its origin story, which starts, believe it or not, with a wild party at the very dawn of Hollywood.
The year is 1921, and Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle he's one of the biggest comedy stars on the entire planet. He's right up there with Charlie Chaplin. He has just signed an unbelievable $3 million contract with Paramount. He is literally on top of the world.
So, during this huge Labor Day party in his hotel suite, things go horribly wrong. A young actress gets sick, and, a few days later, she dies. Arbuckle finds himself accused of her rape and murder. Now, after 3 huge, sensational trials, he was actually acquitted, cleared of all charges. But it didn't matter. In the court of public opinion, he was guilty. His career was completely and utterly destroyed.
And this was the moment everything changed. See, other studios like Universal watched this whole disaster unfold, and they panicked. They realized their biggest assets, their movie stars, were also their biggest risks. So for the very first time, they wrote a new kind of clause into their contracts, one designed to protect the company from the talent. And just like that, the Morals Clause was born.
But here's the thing. In Hollywood's golden age, this clause became way more than just a legal safety net. It evolved into a tool of absolute control, and it was enforced by a secret network of people whose entire job was to make scandals disappear.
Welcome to the world of the fixers, guys like Eddie Mannix at MGM. Their job was simple: protect the studio's investment no matter what it took. And this was not just PR. This was a full-on shadow operation. We're talking about bribing cops and reporters, covering up the real story behind producer Paul Byrne's death to protect his superstar wife. They kept Tootie Garland working by feeding her pills and then covered up her addiction. To hide Rock Hudson's homosexuality, they literally arranged a fake marriage for him. They controlled everything, and the Morals Clause was the hammer they held over everyone's head.
And this right here shows you the fundamental shift. Back then, a scandal was a secret, something for the fixers to bury deep, all to protect the star, who was the valuable asset. But today, a scandal is a public bonfire fueled by social media. And the PR teams aren't trying to save the star, they're trying to save the brand by cutting the star loose as publicly as possible.
But pretty soon, the clause was about to evolve again. It went from being a shield to protect the studio to a weapon, used for something even darker than covering up crimes, enforcing political ideology. And you can see how quickly this happened. It's 1947, the Red Scare is in full swing, and 10 Hollywood writers and directors are dragged before Congress and asked if they're communists. They refused to answer, citing the First Amendment. Well, the studios got scared of boycotts, so they used the Morals Clause, claiming the politics of the Hollywood 10 brought the industry into public disrepute. And with that, they fired them. The Hollywood blacklist wasn't just a threat anymore, it was real.
And if you want to know just how absurd this whole era was, look no further than Dalton Trumbo. He was blacklisted, couldn't get a job anywhere under his own name. So what does he do? He starts writing scripts under fake names, and he ends up winning 2 Academy Awards while he was officially unemployable. One for Roman Holiday, another for The Brave One. That's how twisted it got. The Morals Clause had become a political weapon.
Which, of course, brings us all the way back to today. The internet, social media, TMZ, It's all created this nonstop 24/7 courtroom of public opinion, and that has made the morals clause more powerful and maybe more dangerous than ever before.
The process these days is just brutally efficient. A video pops up, an old tweet gets dug up, an allegation is made, it goes viral. The public explodes online, demanding action, putting all this pressure on the brands. So the company lawyers pull out the contract, point to the morals clause, and boom, the person is fired, sometimes within a matter of hours.
And you see this play out across the entire industry. Look at TV. Charlie Sheen was on the biggest sitcom in the world. And then, after a string of really bizarre public rants, he was fired. And it's not just actors. Even trusted news anchors aren't safe. NBC used the morals clause to suspend their top anchor, Brian Williams, when it came out that he'd been exaggerating stories about his time as a war correspondent. I mean, for a news anchor, your credibility is the whole game, and the clause was there to protect the network's reputation.
Its power is especially obvious in the world of high-stakes sports deals. For years, Nike stood by Lance Armstrong through all the rumors. But the second the doping evidence was undeniable, they invoked the morals clause and dropped him. They had to protect their global brand from the fallout.
Yeah, in the world of advertising, the stakes are just incredibly high. Remember when celebrity chef Paula Deen admitted in a legal deposition that she'd used racial slurs? Well, sponsors like Walmart, Target, and the Food Network dropped her almost overnight. Her image had become toxic, and they couldn't risk that toxicity rubbing off on their brands. But then, in the last few years, something really interesting happened. Talent and their agents got smart. They looked around and realized, hey, wait a minute, scandals aren't a one-way street. What happens if the company is the one that messes up?
So, we all know the classic morals clause by now, right? It's a shield. It's there to protect the company from the behavior of an individual.
Well, now, big-name stars are demanding what's called a reverse morals clause, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It protects the talent from the company. It gives the celebrity the right to walk away from a deal if the company gets into a scandal that might hurt the star's reputation.
And if you're wondering why this became so necessary, look no further than Enron. When that company collapsed in one of the biggest fraud scandals in history, the Houston Astros baseball team had a major problem. Their shiny new stadium was called Enron Field. That name became so toxic that they had to pay millions of dollars just to get out of the deal and rename the stadium. The company's bad behavior was now a stain on the talent.
So, all of this leaves us with one last question. From Fatty Arbuckle being ruined a century ago, all the way to Twitter cancellations and these new reverse clauses, the game has completely changed. In this world of constant digital scrutiny, where one post can start a global firestorm, who really holds the power? Is it the studio writing the contract, the brand protecting its image, or is it all of us, the audience, deciding with our clicks and our outrage who gets to stay and who gets canceled?